Can someone at least confirm if they are able to see my screen and hear me, at least in the chat? Yeah, thank you. So yeah, today we'll just start with the test ng, which is basically what a testing framework. So where we say unit test framework and all, but it is also used for integration testing, end-to-end testing, regression testing. So uh, generally the term they gave is test-ng as unit test framework. So basically this test-ng is defined for is basically designed for Java programming language only. So if you need this unit test framework for Java, you have JUnit as well. So basically this test-ng is also inspired by that JUnit thing. So JUnit is again a unit test framework. And for .NET C# thing, we have NUnit. So just like that, here we have test-ng. And then it can be basically used for unit test, end-to-end integration, functional testing, as I said, so on. So how to basically what test-ng is, how we can install it, and how we can use it is what I would show you today. So first of all, to get that installation for test-ng, go to your help menu over here and go to your Eclipse market. So there are n number of ways to get test-ng into your system. So one is go to this Eclipse market thing, and here you can just search for test-ng. So in this, you can just say search test-ng and just hit go button, enter. So you would get test-ng for Eclipse. So you need to install this plugin. So it's again a plugin, just like we have others. The basically test-ng is again a library, just like Java. We have a Java library. We have Selenium as a library, a jar file, right? Same way, test-ng is also available. And then here we would get just like this install button. So for your test-ng.eclipse, click on that install button, and there would be some normal installation process, like you just click next, 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 and so on. And there would be one more pop-up saying a warning or saying install anyway, a button we would get it. So basically you also have to proceed with those steps, click on install now, and then complete the installation process. Once it is done, it would ask for the restart of your Eclipse, because again that is like we are changing the Eclipse ID, right? Some properties, some plugin, some extra thing we are adding it. That's why we need to restart our Eclipse, and once the Eclipse is restarted, that's it. So you have got now the test-ng library. And the other ways as well, like you can go to this Google, just say testng.org is what you would have this thing here. So here you would again, you see testng is nothing but unit test framework inspired from this particular thing. And then what are all these now? We have a few things here like annotations. So basically what annotation here mean is nothing but it's a form of metadata that I can say. So basically metadata in the sense like something, some Java source, Java code would be written, right? So to that Java code, if we explicitly want to add something, inject some of our own parameters or something from our custom code, so we use annotations. So basically annotations are nothing but, again, we are just trying to call any of that inbuilt method, but with the dynamic, again, a parameters kind of thing. And so annotations in testng are many. So if I just have to show you, so here I guess this installation should be enough. And if you go, so here you have Eclipse plugin. So if you go to this testng, yeah, here in this testng thing, so what you can do is, other thing, you just close all this thing, and then here just come here, open this install. You have this install button, right? So testng for Eclipse plugin, so you can drag and drop that Eclipse plugin onto your Eclipse here thing, and then it would pop up again, give you the same thing. So testng for Eclipse uh, thing here, but since I have already downloaded, so I don't need it basically. So you would get that option here, so you can install that testng plugin from here as well. And the other thing, what you can do is, already Maven repository, right? So even in Maven repository, you can search here for testng. So testng is what? Test is nothing but testing framework, and ng is nothing but next generation. So here you would have this testng org.testng. So from this particular package is what we want. So click on this Maven dependency. Still loading. So here we have all these different versions again. So beta versions, we have all this other version. Latest stable version, we'll just prefer it. Thing again, something in beta versions, there might be some bugs and some issues. So just to avoid those things, so any version, whichever you feel, you can take it. But I would prefer the latest version. So click on this latest version, and then here you would have this thing. So here you have dependency. So you can copy this dependency, and in your Maven project, go to your form file. So here under dependencies, you can add that dependency as well. So testng, as soon as you save it, again you would get this testng in your dependency thing. So testng jar file would be added in your, so it's still downloading. Once it is done, so you would have that testng, this jar, you see. So some other jar as well, it would come. So here basically we have this 7.6.1 version. Again, a different version, if you want, just come here, change it in this particular location. So with this, you have testng in your project now. Same way for your Java project as well. So in Java project, if you want, you can add that testng. So how to do? So once that testng is installed, or what you can do is, just right click onto your Java project, or now Maven project, and whatever it is. So go to your Java project, build path, configure build path. Here in uh, or I would say the reference library, right? So we can add further more libraries as well. So in this, so just like you have JRE, you can add library, another library, and from here, once that testng is installed, in this you would have JUnit. By default you would get it, and JRE you already have it. So testng, once you have installed, you would get that option over here. So you can just add that testng library to your project as well in this way, and just say finish. Once you say finish, that testng library would be added, apply and close. So you would have this testng library as well. See, so now this project can use a testng code. And then so I'll show you in the Maven project, because this Java project we are not using now, but yeah, still if you prefer using Java, you can use it in Java as well. So here I'll create one separate package called testng pack or practice, anything. So I just create this package over here, and then now how to use testng. So basically, let's first create a normal class in this. I like, even if I'm taking main method, let's say, so first testng class, I would say, and then so any name you can give. So normal, this is what your Java method, right? Again, so you can uh, print this line. Print is what we are just printing something, and then for Java class, what you would have when you right click, you would get run as, and then Java application. So now this is normal your Java class, right? So normally through Java you are doing it. So for Java, basically it needs main method. And now what if main method is not there, and if you want to execute some part of code? Now in this, let's say you have written one method, uh, public void your one method, let's say method one, I would say. Okay, so this method I would just execute. So any lines of code, your Selenium code, your automation code, all that thing also you can write it. For just time being, I'm just writing the normal print methods. So I'll just write this print method over here. And now if I right click and run, would I be able to run? You see, I don't get any run options for Java, because Java basically would need main method, and then this method we need to call it in main, then only we can execute through Java. But we don't want through Java, we want through testng, right? So how to do that? So once we have a method, so for that particular method, as soon as over that method, just before that method starts, you just type add annotations basically. And what annotations you can add? So let's say you would add test annotation here, and when you say @test and you have testng referenced in your form file, so testng, you would have that testng related jar files right here. So once you have it here, now just mouse over on this test annotation, and you see you are getting. So do you want to add testng library? If you want to add testng library, you can add it this way, or JUnit if you want JUnit. But we are doing test ng, and then I just want to import that from this org.testng.annotations. So make sure you are taking it from the correct package org.testng. So I will take that one, and that import statement would come here. And now this is what, as soon as you add your testng annotation thing, see this method, what changes you have seen. So you have got this run, this debug, run all. So some extra code is there, right? Then that's it. So for a method, if you write annotation and @test, which is from testng, if you use, that's it. So this particular method now you can execute. So how you can execute whatever code? So you can open write code here, driver equals to new Chrome driver, open Chrome driver, navigate to URL driver.get of some URL, and then all that stuff if you write it here. And then once that code is written, if you want to execute, just say right click, run as soon as you click on run as, you would get option called testng, testng.test, testng space test. So through this, now this class, a normal Java class, is being converted to testng class just with this annotation. And then again, this class would have normal methods as well. It can have any just like Java methods, Java normal methods, we can have those methods as well here. And how to run, just as I said, so one option is right click, run as, and then test.ng.test, or here you have this run option for that particular method to run. So this is test method, so test method to run. And then you have run all option, wherein you can run all the tests here. So I have basically one test here, and then let's say I want to run, so I can click on this run button or right click on this run as test.ng test. As soon as I click on this run, then you see test ng, something is executed. We got some green colored all pass and all. So here if you see test method one, so method one is what here it is printed, and it says passed. So the whole package name, so test ng dot this class dot method name is passed, it shows. And some extra messages, some extra information it gives test ng. So this library, like default test run is one, failure, skip, and default suit. So how many tests were there? Like test run was one was passed, nothing has been failed, nothing has been skipped. So this extra bit information what we get. Whereas for Java, if you use, we don't get all this information, right? And here in the results of the this thing, test ng thing, if you see, let me expand. So here you would have default suit, default test, so method one, which it has taken this much of time to execute basically, and a green color, which means okay, this test was passed. Here you see pass count one, how many passed were there, how many failed were there. We get all this complete information on this in this test ng. So if you use unit test framework, and yeah, so this is just a basic one. So we have created at the rate test and annotation. So this is at the rate test is again one annotation. So similar to this annotations, we would have many annotations, right? So what are that annotations? So let me just tell you a few things. Basically, annotations is what we have in test ng. So at the rate test is what annotation. And then what are other annotations? So there are many, but few are like I would just list. One is suit. The other one, just say test. We have the other one. We have class. Other one we have again the methods or the test methods. So uh, for now, I guess I just don't want to confuse you with all the annotations just at once. So basic ones which we mostly use is what I would uh, get it here. So we had groups, and we have at the data providers. We have different annotations, but these are the common ones like suit, test, class, method. And how we exactly use these annotations now? So for one particular annotation like suit, so again there are two annotations with this. One is before suit, the other is after suit. So before after is what we have for all this uh, thing, and the other one is so if I have to say, so before and after, as I was saying, so suit, I'll just show you here. So or this one thing I've written. So one method we have, let's say public void. So I'm saying before suit is what I just want to use a method name. Any method name you can give. It's not like you need to have this method names only, but yeah, for better understanding, I'm just giving a proper names to the method. So I have used before suit, and then how to annotate it with before suit? Just say at the rate annotation, and you can also press control space. Since you have already imported testng .org thing, then you would have all the annotations basically. First of all, at the rate you have, so all Java, which is coming from Java, and all the other libraries we have. So here I would say you see here you have after suit, after method, after group, after class, and then before as well, before test, before suit, before method, before group, before class. So we have all this, and out of all this we just want what? Before, before you want class, group, method, or suit. I just want for now, let's say suit. So what is the difference between all these annotations? I would tell you later. But for now, okay, this before suit is what we have imported now. So this is one annotation. Same way we can have after a suit, we can have after test, before suit. So all these annotations. So what happens if you see, just right click, run test ng test. So if you execute, you see in the output, you see output. So method one was our test, right? So instead of method, I would just say better to distinguish, I would say test one, or just say test, and I would say test method. Okay, so you can run on this as well. Click on this test run, and then it just execute this test. So if you see, before the this particular method is called, or before this execution, there is something else which has executed, which is what? Before suit. So this has been executed. So in your testing requirement, there would be like, when you are actually starting, when you're actually doing something, actual test case. So before that test case also, you might want to do something. So some prerequisites would be there, some browser opening thing, some kind of application load, open the browser, load the application, or log in, or clean up some details, like any requirement that you would have it. So all this prerequisite thing, basically we can add that in at the rate before tags here. So those part of the code, if you have, you can write it in under this particular annotation. So you have suit, and then same way, uh, it's not compulsory that you need to have all those annotations in your particular class. So what if we have now the same way we can have at the rate after suit as well, right? So instead of this, I would say after, and I would say after. So this is after suit, and just mouse over on this after suit, and then import it from org.testng.annotation. So click on this, and then yeah, you see. So what this particular order means, now here you have actual test case, which is your test, but before this test we want to do something else, which is like we have added some code in before suit annotation. So this would be done first, then this particular line of code would be done, and then after performing this, after suit is called again, this would be done. So this is what we generally, if we want, if we have our requirement in such a way, so something would be done before that, and something should be done after that, and something should be repeated multiple times as well. So likewise, whatever the requirement is, we can get that through our testng unit test framework. So here if you see, before suit was executed, and then actual test case is executed, and then it says passed this thing. But again, if you go down, after the suit is done, so after suit is also executed. So same way, instead of this after suit, let's say you want uh, other annotation, which is what else we have? Before class. So we can use this before class as well. So just say before class, and then this thing. So it's not like you have used class and then you cannot use suit after suit. Before you have used, so before class only, after class only you have to. Any annotations. It's not like just one or two. Whatever your requirement is, use those annotations, and then you can perform. So here, let's say I can use after class if we want, or after other method as well. Anything. I would use after class for now. So after class, so same thing again. If you execute, so what happens? So again same thing, just this, before the test actual @test execution, it looks for if there is something tag called @before. So @before we have this, so this is executed. And then uh, what is next? We also have this actual test case is executed. After that we want it would also look for any after classes. So it basically looks for after tags as well, if there are any. And then here here we would have since we have after class, so even that is executed. So this is how we have different tags. So you can use all those different tags and see you can create how, what execution, how, in which particular order it executes and all. So if I just have to tell you the order would be what? uh, so first thing, so actual your test test case. uh, so your test method, let's say your test case. So actual test case is what you would have right here. So actual this test case, so before now, before execution of this thing, so before method, if it is there, it executes that. But even before method, if something before class is there, it would execute that before class. And same way, if uh, if before test is there, before class, if before test is there, that would be a get executed. And even before test, if there is something tag called before suit, that before suit would get executed. And then actual test case, when it gets executed, then after that, after method again, after method would get executed. So then after class, then after test, then after suit. So this is the order that it would perform. So I'll just create one quick class and I'll show you in which particular order it does. So right click, and then here what you can do is uh, just go to other and search for test ng class. So you would have this test ng class here. Click on this test ng class, and then in this you can give what. So this is our package name. So under this we are clicking. So here class name, so what class name you want. So I would say all annotations class, something like that. So I've created one class, and then here you have annotations thing, so you can check all this. So here what you can give, you say uh, let's say if you want to use all these methods, you can check all this, or any of this you want. Let's say I might need only @before and @after is enough for me, so you can finish short of. And if not this, okay, I need @before method after suit, you can use this, or all this as well if you want. I'll just show you, take it all. But yeah, it is not mandatory or compulsory to have all these things. So once I select this, so testng would give us a class with all that annotations, and then this method names also, it would give us. Okay. And now if you see, all this annotations is there. Now let me just quickly write something and then execute. So if I execute now here, basically we won't get anything, right? Because there is nothing written in this method, not in like we have opened or done something. So nothing is printed because we have asked nothing to do. Like generally this in Selenium code we would be using it, but for now, yeah, I'll just write some basic print methods. So I would say, just for understanding, I would say this is what before method. right? And this, the order of this thing, so it doesn't matter in which particular order you write it, this methods, wherever in the class. So this thing you can write after method, you can write here as well, just in this starting itself. And this thing, so likewise you can jumble these methods, annotations. It's no not a particular order you need to write it, or particular order you need to follow it. So here anything anyhow you can just write it based on your requirements. And here, so I'll just quickly write these things. So at the rate before, at the rate this is nothing but before class, and then this is after class. First let me copy all that print statements here. And here, so this is after method, this is after class, this is before class, before test, we have after control set, after test, before suit, after suit. So we have all these annotations. Now if we just have to run, so I'll say indentation, control A, control I, it aligns all this code in a proper way. And then yeah, so how to run the test? Right click, just run as test ng test. You can do this, or you get a run option on your test method. So not on the other methods, if you see, so you won't get a run option, because this you cannot run it directly. So only thing is you can run your test methods. So if you don't have this test method in your class, and you have all these annotations, but there is no test method actually, so even then there is no use of this particular class. So if you right click run, so this one, since it doesn't have any test main test method, that which we are basically looking for, so it says it does something, but still there is no use basically for this particular thing. So here we need to mandatorily have at least one @test annotation, and then other methods are kind of again optional. If you want to use it, or no, not required, then leave it. So here I would say this is my test one, I would say, and then I would just print this one as well. This is test one. And so click on this run button if you want, or again, yeah, I'll just click on run for now. So run, when I click on this particular test, so all those things whatever is written is what it would print it. And if I just have to show you, you see, so now before suit, so out of all these annotations, what is being executed first? Before suit. Suit is what? A bigger one. Now inside that suit, so before suit is executed, then we have test. So this test, before test is what it gets executed, and then before class. So inside suit we have, let's say, class, and inside classes we would have methods. Inside methods we would have this again, the test this thing. So you can just try to remember it in that way. So suit is bigger one test. So this is a different test than our actual test one. So here you would have before test, before class, and then before method, then actual whatever test case you have written, that gets executed. Then once that actual test case is executed, we would have after annotations again, after method, and then after class, after test, and after test we also have after suit. So that gets executed. So this is the order basically of these annotations. And yeah, anyone have any doubts till this particular step? Is everything clear about whatever I have told about this annotations? So you might have got the order of this execution. And yeah, what if and here as well, like in this particular class, as I said, we can have other normal methods as well, and public void. And first of all, when you create a method for your test annotation, so it should be, if you see, it's a non-static method. So it's not a static method. Again, create a non-static method for your this thing. So same way. So here, other method, normal method, you can have static, non-static, whatever your code is. So I would say public void addition of two methods, or some kind of code if I have. So I can do, so 3 plus 4, I can just print. And then this is normal method again, not this is not an annotation, but still, yeah, we can add this normal methods in our classes as well if required. And then until and unless this is called, it won't get executed, right? Even if I execute now, still we would get the same output, just what we got previously, because this method is not been called. So let's say in some method, if you want to call this method, you can call it directly. So just say add of this method, we would have to do it, right? So here in any of this method, wherever you want, you can call. So I would say in before method, I want to call it. So here before method, I would say call this add. That's it. So this is non-static and this is non-static. So directly I'm just calling with the name, and then right click, run this test-ng.test. And now when this before method is executed, it should have basically before method, when it is executed, it is calling add of this method, and in add, whatever lines of code you have written, it is executing that, and then this is performed. You see, this you can call it n number of times. Again, a method, it's not compulsory, like you can call just once, right? So you can call n number of times in your test method as well. Yeah, if you want, you can call. So this is how you can have normal methods as well. And I just don't want these things now. I'll remove this. And yeah, we have test one. Now let's say the other thing is, let's say we have another method with same name. Again, we cannot write, right? Method name should be different. Basically, we know it from Java, right? So again, the next method name, I would say test2, and I'll just execute this test2, right? And then now if you see the execution, so what happens is, I'll show you a file execution so it would be more clear. So we have two test cases, test case one, test case two, which how you're saying test cases, at the rate test is 2 times written in one particular class, right? So which means we have two test cases. So here you can write, instead of this thing, your general test cases, like login is your one test case, logout is your another test case, and then add uh, add user or add employee. You have seen that orange HRM, right? So in that, add employee is what if you're doing. So all how to add, so write that Selenium code. So that particular test case is what, again, you can say it has another test case. So at the rate test, and write all that in that method. So likewise, you can create n number of test cases you want. So once you have all these test cases, you just go here. You see before suit test class method is what commonly it executes, and then test case one is executed. And now once this test case one is executed, what it does next? So it also executes after method. When the after method is executed, after that, so since it has another at the rate test, so then before execution this at the rate test, again before method wherever you have written is what again it gets executed. So before method you have written, right? So this gets invoked again second time. For the second test, it gets second time executed, and actual second test case gets executed, and after method. And then all these classes, after just once it is executing. So after class, after test, and then after suit, so it executes it. So here at the end you would have like how many test cases were there, how many passed, how many failed, all that details you get. Here in testng result, you get this green color, and if something is failing, you get red color or the other one. So, and here you would have some details like, okay, this package, this class is there, and test one, test two are the methods, and this method has taken this much of time, all these things. And here just refresh this once, and then you would have test output folder once you execute testng. And in this test output folder, if you open, you would have all these files. So out of these files, you would have something called index.html. So you can just open this index.html. But I will open this index.html. So I'll copy this path, open that in your browser, and hit enter. So as soon as you see, so a report is generated wherein with testng reports would be there, and then all suits, default suits, and one suit is there, and all these extra details, extra informations would be given here. This is coming everything from your testng, the unit test framework. So this would be basically helpful when you are actually automating thing, and in the automation you would need the reports thing. So when we have to share it with clients when we are working on, so we can, if we just use testng, we can share this report, so they would have some understanding of what has been done. So there's a suit, default suit, and then there was one test method. uh, so if you click on the test method, default test method, one pass method, show here, click in this, and then there's method one. So you would have this, right? So this way you would have it. So this is how you get the details. So you have the index.html. So field, these are again too deep if you just want to go. But yeah, for now, I guess this is more than enough just to start with. And you have all the stats, right? Now you have all annotations, and in this you have used this before class. Let's say I would again create one another class. So instead of first, I would say second testng class. So in this class, I would just say, okay, one is test method, right? And the other one, again, I would create another test method. How to create? Just say public void the method name. And here I would say, what method name should I give? Just say login is just a method name. Okay. At the rate test is what I just have to denote it. And then you can write a code to log in, but I am just writing a print message for this. So login is what my one test is there. And now similar to this, I would have what other methods also I can have. So I'll say logout method. I have public void logout. Okay, logout method, and then print, this is logout, and then at the rate test is what we have to say. So now here in this thing, we have three test cases, one with test name, one with login name, one with this thing. And now if you execute, what happens? So so if we execute it, basically, okay, I just executed one. So right click, so run this thing, or you have three test cases, you can click on run all, and it runs all the test cases of this particular thing. Or if you want any individual test, so likewise you can click on this run thing, or just in this, inside this method, just right click, run, and then test engine test. So in whichever method you are there, so which test, so that particular test gets executed. But here it is executing the whole class, because I've just right click on this thing. And here just individual, if you want, you just click on run this thing, or run all also you can click it. Once you click on this run all, so it executes all the test cases of this particular class. So you see, now the order, if you see, uh, we have written first one was test, then this one, then this one. But output, if you see, first is what it has executed login. Second is what? It has executed logout. Next is what? It has executed test. So uh, you see now what would be the order? Why is it executing in this? So here, if you see closely, this test ng, the test methods, whatever name you have given, so it executes in a chronological order again, like alphabetical order, if I have to say you, just to make it things simple, but it actually executes in ASCII value, based on ASCII thing, and then all any of that characters or any of the special characters or anything you write it here, that has some ASCII related values, and based on that it does. But for our understanding, let's check, consider it as alphabetical order, and here alphabetical order, so before T, L comes, right? So we have L, and if L and L is same, then it checks the next one. O and O is same, it checks for the next one. G and G is same, so it checks for the next one. I, and next one is O. So I and O, I comes first, right? That's why that first method gets executed, and then O comes next, so this method gets executed, and after L execution, it goes for the next T. Again, if you write some other test method based on that order which it follows, it executes those methods. So this is how testng executes those test methods in this particular order. And let's say some test cases, if you want to execute multiple times, let's say this login test case, I want to just repeat it n number of times. And the other things that we can look into is, so let's say I just don't want this particular thing to be executed in this particular order. I want it in one general order, saying, okay, first login should execute it, login should get execute, and then my actual test case is what I want it to be executed. So this test, and then logout should get executed. So if I want in that particular order, how you can do? So again, this for that, what you have to do is, wherever you have written this test method at the rate test, here you just write another parameters you can add again to the test methods. So just add that function braces here, and just type control space here, and then what all options you can give to your test method is what it would show us. So always run, data provider, depends on group, description, enable. So you have this many annotations here, like properties available with this annotation. So invocation count, we have priority, we have test suite name, test name, timeout. So out of all this, so since we want it to be executed in particular order, we have something called priority. So use this priority here, and priority equals to what? So let's say priority, I want to give this test case as 0. So, and then, so in this order only, if I want, let's say priority as 0, same way for other test cases, I can say priority as 1, I can say priority as 2, negative values as well you can give. So you can say a -100, -10, -20, something like that. So based on what order you have given. So priority 0 is what? First it gets executed, then priority 1, then priority 2. So if you want in this particular order, now you see first was what? Login, logout, it has executed, and then test. But now we want it to be executed in this order. So priority 0, test would get executed. If you see later, it would be test here, and then uh, login is what next, then logout. So in this order it gets executed. So you see there are total 3 tests, 3 were passed, all 3 were passed, nothing were failed, and skip were nothing. So if you see order again, test is first, login is next, logout. So let's say if you wanted logout to be executed before login, then change this priority, give this priority something else. It's not like some number, but any number you can give it. It should be greater than this again. Let's say you want this one. So priority 0, if you have first, it would check in all this test case. So priority 0 is first, it gets executed. then priority 1, if it has, yeah, it executes this one, and priority 2, 3, 4, if you have, it executes, else priority 7. So this way also you can give it, but just for your proper understanding, give some proper thing wherein you can track again what all things you have given. So you see, first priority is this, the next priority is what I've said to execute this, and then next priority is this. So likewise you can do it. And my actual requirement was first login should be executed, so I would say login priority is 1, I would say, and then test is what next priority I want to give, so 2 I would give, and logout is what my next priority, which is 3. So now in this particular order it should be executing, first login, then test, then logout. So likewise we can give this priority. You see, login, test, logout. So it says it's all passed, and this green thing again, in this we have this much time it has taken for execution. And also this is what we get it more cleanly, nicer way, I would say, right? And so this is about priority. Now, and other properties as well, now you can add it. So multiple things again with this priority. Let's say test case I want to, after login, test case I is what I want to perform n number of times. So how we can add? So after this priority, again another property, if you want to give, just say comma, control space, so you would get other options again. So you can add, okay, description, so some kind of description if you want to give. So this is my actual test case, something like normal description you can give, test case 1 or something like this. So some description you can give, and then other other attributes, again always run true, you can give this value enabled. So you can use this enable property. So sometimes so by default enable is what, true, right? So so all this, I guess I would suggest you guys to just use this thing and see the actual execute and see what's happening. So for this enable is what you would have value something, so true. So by default enable true would be there for all these methods. And if you, let's say you don't want to execute out of all this test method, one test is what you don't want to execute at some point. So for that, define this attribute, and the value instead of true you say false, and then run. Now in this execution, when you do, you closely see if this test case, if this test is gets executed or not. So if you see login and logout gets only executed, because for this another test you said enable is false, so kind of you are ignoring this test case. So there is another property again, if I have to say, but again just don't want to confuse you all with all those things. But yeah, if you again want to know, so ignore is what you can write at the rate ignore, take it from org.testng package, and then if you have this, so with this particular tag, so this test case is ignored as well. So you can write it this way, or enable equals to false, use any of this. So there are, yeah, n number of again different things. So based on our requirement we just have to switch between this thing. So use, whenever you have something requirement, you can just go on try to work accordingly. So enable is false, if you give, you kind of get this thing uh, this property, like this test case is ignored, wouldn't be executing. So you can give value as true. So so this is case sensitive, you need to just check again. So this thing, and then you have groups, again you can group it, you can have invocation count, which I would just want to show. So invocation count, like let's say you want to execute this test case 10 times, so invocation count you can specify here and say, just say 10. And then if you now see, right click, run as testng test, so this particular method would be executed 10 times. And if you see the total number of test counts, so it is 12 are passed. Why? You have this 2 test cases, plus then this is 10 test cases internally, again this is considering as 10 test cases. So 10 test cases, so it is in total 12. And now if you see, login is first executed based on the priority. Next priority was this, and then inside this priority you have given invocation count 10. So this particular, whatever code you write here, now instead of this you can say browser, open browser, Chrome browser, and then open application, and then login and log out. And that method if you return, and then if you want that particular action to be performed n number of times, just say invocation count and give that n number of count here, and then just run it. So whatever count you have given, that many number of times it does execute. So in Java, if we have to do it, what we would have done here, we would write for loop and then into some variable for loop I equals to 0, then I is less than 10, I plus plus increment value, and then all that code we used to write it and call, right? So instead of that, we can just use this test-ng property called invocation count, and then yeah, that's it. So here test is what 10 times it gets executed, and then log out, next priority, next thing. So it does that. And the description of the test case, so here we have given this description. So you see this is my actual test case, so description would also be shown on this. And then here in this thing, so you have login, and then this each method has taken how much time, and then how many times, this count, and then log out. All this is what we generally get it, right? So yeah, this is about this properties. Again, by default, if you don't give any, let's say this thing, you're not giving any priority, so by default the priority would be 0. So which means now if you have given this priority 1 2, but before this priority, the 0 priority would get executed. So if I run now, logout will be the first method out of all these methods to execute. So if you see, logout was first one, and then login, and then this thing. So priority is what we can have this, and what else? Skip, failed, success. So I guess I would suggest you guys to just practice, and any doubts if you have, just yeah, we can discuss tomorrow. So uh, so this is it for now, I would say. And then tomorrow what I would do is, again, like just with our orange HRM test case, is what I would show you how we can use it. So where we generally use this particular scenario, and then this for tomorrow I would just explain. So mostly with that particular thing, we would be finishing our this training sessions. So yeah, anyone have any doubts? They want to ask something about this test ng or anything which we have discussed till now? Feel free to ask.
Hi, Pradeep.
Yeah, hi.
Most of the students take Selenium resumes.
Okay.
In normal HR, any questions we can manage. But if in case technical HRs, what type of question they are asked?
So in technical, yeah, in interview wise, you are just
not interview, technical HR. They are what type of questions asked?
So technical HR would be just one technical round when you have, again, the technical related stuff would be asked. So technical HR, when you say, I'm not sure exactly that term, but HR would generally, we would have one round, right? Final round of HR, and then technical, we would have normal technical rounds. So technical thing. So in that technical round, they would ask just related to this technology, like Java. If you have, so Java, about Java, they would ask Selenium, they would ask Selenium, and then unit test framework. If you say test ng, so regarding all these questions regarding test ng, they would ask all these questions. So HR is what HR just generally the basic one they would ask. But technical HR, when they say, again, technical interview, technical round, they might be referring it to. So technical, when they say, so technical stuff they would be asking basically.
But in MNC companies, HRs, what type of questions in I if they are asked?
So about the since the basic things that we learned now about Java. So in Java they might ask about the OOPS concept, about what is polymorphism, what is inheritance, how do you perform. Like they might give some scenarios again, and then this on those scenarios they would tell. So sometimes directly they don't ask like inheritance concept or let's say polymorphism. So I have written this login method, and then again they might also say, okay, can we write again this login method but with different parameters. So again with this way here int a or something like this. So this login, you have login name, right? So this name we have, but again same method but with different parameters. So what is this concept called? We know it is polymorphism, because polymorphism is nothing but one particular thing would have many forms. So likewise, so sometimes they might ask directly what is polymorphism, what are the types, runtime polymorphism, compile time polymorphism, difference between that, and encapsulation. What is encapsulation? All this OOPS concept related in Java, and then in Selenium, or like some methods. If you're a fresher going as a fresher, then they would ask Selenium related stuff. So basic for a fresher, like how to open a browser, and what are weights? What is implicit weight? What is explicit weight? So some basic questions to start with for a fresher, and then it again the questions changes on like uh, depending on how much experience you are. So they might ask the tougher questions again. So that gets changing again in this test ng framework. So they can say, okay, what is priority, how you can, like if you have this particular scenario I want to execute, there are 10 test cases and in some order I want to execute, how would you do it? So at that time you need to say, okay, we can define priority to our test cases. And then like say one method we want to execute n number of times, like 10 times if I want. So do you copy paste write that line 10 times, or no, in testng we can use invocation count. So likewise they would ask the questions, and yeah, you would have to answer it this way.
Okay. Thank you, Pradeep.
Is it clear whatever I've told, Molly?
Okay. Okay. If in case day tomorrow, I will ask you.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So, any other questions? So I guess, yeah, if everything is done, we are good to close. Yeah, thank you everyone.